Though it often has the purest of intentions, self-help can often perpetuate and share ideas that are just downright dangerous to your mental health and to your general improvement along your personal development journey. And in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 self-help ideas that I believe are simply dangerous for your self-improvement journey on the whole. Number 1. Only surround yourself with positive people. So there's this idea in self-help that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And in spite of the fact that, as far as I know, there is no actual evidence that this is the case, it provides a very strange view of what friendship should be, because this idea of positivity isn't very well defined, and sometimes positivity just means unconditional positivity no matter what, and anyone that presents even a scrap of negativity or pushback is deemed as toxic, negative, and therefore should be cut out of your life. When in actuality, you need a balance of opinions in your friendships. Everyone needs that one friend who is willing to tell them when they are being delusional or when they're being an ass. And if you only surround yourself with positive people, then you might not be getting the full benefit of social support. Also, excessive positivity is actually pretty toxic in the end, because inevitably it will give you a skewed version of what the world actually looks like. The world is not rainbows and kittens. Sometimes you need to shine a spotlight on some of the crap things that happen if you're going to be able to move forward with your life effectively. Number 2, just be yourself. This is advice that's thrown about by a lot of people when we're talking about confidence, relationships, dating, interviews, things like that. Just be yourself is the popular advice, but that always presupposes that you are more or less a decent person. This probably isn't advice that you would give to someone like Hitler or Stalin or Donald Trump. These are people who for sure should not be themselves. It is advice that needs to have a little bit of qualification that goes along with it. Just be yourself as long as you are a good person. If not, make some adjustments and then go be yourself. Number 3 is radical honesty. And I see this again a lot in self-help. These people who decide that they're just going to be honest with who they are and authentic. And oftentimes this just means that they are going to give themselves free rein to say whatever it is that they want, no matter how rude, condescending, patronizing, offensive, or anything else that it might be. So let me remind anyone who does like to engage in radical honesty that honesty without kindness is simply cruelty. There are ways that you can and should frame certain conversations so that you do not go out of your way to hurt someone's feelings. And if you don't want to do any of that, then maybe you should start to be honest with yourself before anything else, because it sounds more like you just want free rein to hurt people's feelings and to say offensive stuff rather than to actually make progress in your life and improve the world on the whole. Number 4, stop caring what other people think, which would be fine. Except the world is unfortunately filled with people. There's like 7.5 billion of them. So yes, you do actually have to care what they think. Now, you don't have to place undue importance on what the thoughts of every single individual person is, especially when it comes to you taking action in some way or another, but you do have to hold other people in mind. It might sound like badass advice, especially when you've gone through something emotionally turbulent, but you do still have to care about what other people think, because ultimately you don't exist in a vacuum. Everything that you do is going to have an impact on someone else in your life and people that you don't know. So whilst you shouldn't dwell on it every single second of every single day, other people are something that you should be considerate of. Number 5 is ignore the haters. And this is advice that I find particularly stupid, because haters can often be a source of incredibly salient criticism. Not always, but sometimes. Now, in the situations where they are going to be giving actual salient criticisms, it's probably more when you have categorized somebody as being a hater, when in fact they are giving you fair and balanced criticism. You might think of your manager as a hater when they tell you that you could have done X, Y, and Z better in your presentation. But if you go ahead and ignore that, then guess what's going to happen? You're probably going to suck at the next presentation and they're going to say the exact same thing to you again. Now, if somebody is just genuinely hating, and that means nitpicking and giving unfair criticism and being super bad faith in their points, then yeah, you can probably ignore that person, but you cannot just write off everything as hate and everyone that criticizes you or that is negative in any way as a hater. That's not how life works. Number 6, your thoughts shape your reality. And this usually comes packaged with a lot of law of attraction and manifestation advice, and it is simply not true. And let me explain to you why. Because if your thoughts shape your reality, then that makes billions of people who go through hardships every single day, and I'm talking real hardships, starvation, discrimination, poverty, genocide. These are horrendous things to have to deal with. That is an objectively true statement. And to say to that person that their thoughts are what are shaping their reality when they were born into a country with no opportunities to succeed other than to survive, then yes, I do take issue with that. I think that is a bad piece of self-help advice. Your thoughts do not shape your reality. Number 7 is to show the person what they're missing, whether it's an ex or an old friend or a previous boss, something like that. This is a really, really stupid way of looking at life. If you are going out there to show your ex, for example, what they are missing, then guess what? All you're really doing is taking action for the sake of them and not taking action for the sake of you. If you just want to go out and get like super fit and buy a nice car and a nice house and then get like an even hotter girlfriend so that you can show your previous girlfriend what she's missing, then you should probably ask yourself, why are you placing so much stock in somebody who seems to have hurt you in some kind of way? Maybe you should get that sorted out before you try to do anything else with your life. Don't show them what you're missing. Do it for you. Number 8 is you have everything that you need to be happy right now, so just be happy. And this is, again, really stupid advice. Now, granted, this is advice that's normally put towards someone who does live in kind of more Western societies, places like the UK, the US, Canada, Australia. You have everything that you need to be happy. It could be so much worse. So, you know, just be happy. Just be cheerful and positive. And of course, if you have ever suffered with any kind of mental health issues, especially depression or any prolonged periods of low mood, then you'll know that it's not as simple as just flipping a switch. Happiness is not a choice. Happiness is something that is so difficult to define that we cannot ever really set out practical steps to achieve it. We just have to do stuff and wait and see what happens. The underlying criticism of you have everything that you need to be happy is that it's your fault that you feel the way that you feel right now. And telling this to somebody who is suffering from depression or from a prolonged bout of low moods or any other kind of mental health distress is not healthy or helpful. This needs to stop. Don't let yourself act like a victim is the next dangerous piece of advice. And I can somewhat understand this kind of advice to a specific type of person who maybe hasn't gone through a lot of hardship in their lives, but there are people who have been victims and you don't really know that. So if you go about throwing this piece of advice, oh, you shouldn't act like such a victim all the time, oh, you're such a victim, oh, you shouldn't have a victim mentality. If you say that to an actual victim, it undermines their experience, it undermines their feelings, and it just makes them feel like a trash person in general. This is careless unnecessary advice. You oftentimes do not know someone well enough to tell them that they are being a victim in one way or another. So this is one of those things where I'll just tell you, maybe think twice before you say this to literally anyone. And finally, number 10 is one that maybe is going to be a little contentious, but it is this idea that anything is possible if you work hard enough. And I'm sorry, this is simply not true. Hard work does not ever guarantee results. A lot of people who start off in one social class or financial class will end up in that social or financial class at the end of their lives because of the way that these systems are set up. There are barriers to success for individuals and for individual groups that are not simply overcome through hard work. And if you can say this to someone, then you probably never had to deal with anything particularly hard in your life. It's not all about hard work. Luck comes into these things. Chance comes into it. Knowing the right people comes into it. Being born in the right area, in the right country comes into it. It's never just as simple as hard work, because I can guarantee that there are people who work, for example, in Amazon warehouses who are so much more hardworking, kind of pound for pound, than Jeff Bezos is. But they make minimum wage and he's a billionaire. Hard work isn't everything. And so I'd love to hear in the comments if you think that there are any other pieces of crappy self-help advice that I've missed. Leave those in the comment section down below and leave a like on the video if you found this useful today. Thank you very much for watching.